Oakes, or any man for that matter, needs to know basic math if he is going to handle my considerable fortune. A fortune which wasn't hers outright, unfortunately. Its control lay in the hands of her brother, and it seemed he was desperate to hand it over to someone else, just not her. It was completely unfair. It was also why she'd resolved to do whatever she could to help other unfairly placed ladies in similar situations. She would not sit by eating cake while others suffered. She could do a lot more good with her mathematical brain than if she married some lummox who merely required her to have a dowry and then produce a massive amount of children. Richard would not hear of it, however. Any time she'd even hinted at wanting something else, he'd gotten that look on his face, and she wondered if he was going to shut her in the cellar until she changed her mind.
You have refused every offer made to you, and I estimate you have had no fewer than 27 proposals.
That nose-pinching again. If I had accepted at any time, that would be the end of the proposals, Myrtle pointed out, not incorrectly. Like when you say, "Oh, I found the thing I was looking for in the last place I looked." Because of course you would stop looking once you found the thing. She frowned. The number is technically 32, but that includes the Hollister twins and a few of Joseph's schoolmates. Joseph, Richard and Myrtle's younger brother, was away at school, something Myrtle envied greatly. She had had a governess, but that lady had given up when it was clear Myrtle knew more about everything than she did. Miss Rogers was currently living her best life, having made several shrewd investments on Myrtle's advice, and was Myrtle's best and perhaps only friend, with the exception of Myrtle's niece, Lila.
"That isn't the point," Richard said. "And haven't you had enough cake?"
Myrtle looked down at the cake in question. "There's still more of it, so no, I'd say I haven't had enough cake. Unless you want some." She glanced up at her brother, waving her spoon in the air.
"I do not want any cake,"
he ground out. "Then why did you ask if I'd had enough?" She gestured toward his face. "You should be careful about getting so enraged," she said. "You've got a vein popping in your forehead. That cannot be healthy for you."
"I would be less enraged," he shot back, "if you would find yourself a husband."
Myrtle blinked. "I have found them. I just don't want any of them." Richard's gaze hardened, and she almost felt bad. But not as bad as she would feel if she were married to an idiot. And all of the gentlemen, and most of the ladies Myrtle knew, were idiots. She wasn't opposed to marriage per se. It just seemed to her that if the people who were related to her by blood, like her brothers, found her so difficult to deal with, that it would be impossible for someone who wasn't obligated to do so to make a go of it. Marriage was certainly good for others. She just didn't think it would be good for her. Thank goodness for cake, she thought, looking down at the once noble dessert. Her spoon had made inroads that would put cow paths to shame, and one part was teetering as though it was considering a graceless fall onto the plate.
"I cannot continue this,"
Richard said, though he did in fact continue. Myrtle was very pleased she restrained herself from pointing that out. She didn't want to make her brother's head explode.
"You have to find a husband or do something, because your presence here is disruptive. Regina has Lila to launch into society, and she is already anxious that you will do or say something to reflect badly. If Lila isn't able to make a good match, then—"
"Then gentlemen are idiots. Lila is wonderful," Myrtle interrupted, speaking in a firm tone. Her niece, Lila, was beautiful and accomplished, with a lively, engaging disposition that made everyone love her. Myrtle included. She couldn't bear it if she was the reason Lila's debut was tainted somehow. Lila, unlike her aunt, actually wanted the whole death till you part thing. It was all she could talk about, and Myrtle could not, would not do anything to disrupt that. It was annoying to hear all of Richard's talk when Regina, her sister-in-law, had herself engaged in some suspect behaviour, but because it wasn't brain-related, it was somehow less egregious. Myrtle didn't understand that at all. Something else to add to the list that